If you've seen the Leprechaun franchise, you either go, or you say,
Like that, huh? That's good shit. Good shit.
And speaking of this franchise, I'm really disappointed in myself. This franchise alone was a huge part of my childhood. Of course, I had the heavy hitters, the Halloweens, the Friday the 13th, the Screams. But I remember I had Leprechaun 2 on VHS, and I had Leprechaun Back to the Hood on DVD. Yes, I'm that old. A lot of people crap on this franchise, and it's not the best franchise in the world, honestly, especially in the horror realm, but this is actually a pretty fun franchise to watch. The movies are corny, but they're funny, and Warwick Davis' Leprechaun, mwah. This is the newest addition to me ranking the movie posters, so let's get into it. I'm gonna go from worst to best. And honestly, this was really hard because a lot of these posters are just right there with each other. I don't mean they're great. I don't mean they're god-awful. There's just a lot of them, like almost every one of them is just like right here. So I had to do a lot of thinking about this. But nonetheless, let's get into it. Coming in at number 8 is Leprechaun Origins. Why? Because it's dog shit. This ranking has nothing to do with the movies, just the design of the posters and if they do them justice. And I feel like not only is this one of the worst movies made of all time, and it is the worst movie of this franchise, this is definitely the worst poster of the franchise as well. Compared to everything else you're going to see on this list, whether it be just a simple and maniacal picture of Warwick Davis as the Leprechaun, or you see Jennifer Aniston, or you see the cast, or you see fucking Ice-T posted up on the throne. To me, the creativity just is not there. Tagline: a horror icon is reborn. False advertising. Leprechaun Origins. The only thing you have there is a pitch black poster and a leprechaun's hand and some gold. If I had to say something positive about this, I would say symbolism maybe. You know what the franchise is about. It's about the leprechaun trying to save his gold, trying to get his gold back. Motherfuckers just won't leave him alone by his goddamn gold. When I first saw this poster come out, I still didn't like it. I was excited about a reboot and to see what WWE could do with it, but even back then and even now, there's nothing drawing me in. I say that almost every video, but a movie poster has to woo you or draw you in. It's about intriguing the audience, curiosity. This does none of that for me, and that is why it is down at the bottom. My number 7 is Leprechaun 4 in Space. Now, one thing about this poster is I do love the creativity of it. Compared to the rest, I actually think this is a little bit more creative and a little more well-designed. Anything to do with fucking space automatically turns me off. It does not flip my switch. With the exception of like the Alien franchise and what have you, you can do it right. But for me, the space thing, like, come on, man. I love the way the Leprechaun looks in this. I love the lightning bolt. I love the color grade, even though I wish the color grade was just a little bit softer on the Leprechaun's face. Tagline: one small step for man, one giant leap of terror. I've seen all of these movies multiple times, but this one right here, I've actually only seen maybe once, twice, definitely not over 3 times in my whole 30 years of living. But before we move on, I want to actually talk about some alternative posters. I actually remember this poster as this one right here. So instead of the leprechaun smiling, he looks pissed. It's got the same tagline, very similar, but it's different. The font's the same, even though the 4 is different. The 4 in this one is like futuristic, which is fitting for the movie. The planet and the spaceship has been completely redesigned. I actually like the leprechaun's face here more because he just looks so fucking pissed off. This is what I look like when I check my bank account. And another alternative poster is this one right here. I don't exactly know where this poster right here originates from, but I actually really do like it. So if you do know, let me know. Drop it down in the comments. I love the different color grade on this one. I feel like the first 2 are really like too blue. I love the contrast on this one. Same tagline. The only thing you're missing is some lightning. And this one's got an entirely different font. But yeah, even though this poster right here is on the lower end of the spectrum, I still think it's a lot more creative than the other ones upcoming. But I simply don't like the design as a whole. Next, coming in at number 6 is the OG Leprechaun 1. Let's look at this. You have Jennifer Aniston, the megastar who disowns this movie. You gotta start somewhere, Jen. I mean, come on. Tagline: her luck just ran out. Now this design right here is minimal. You have a scared Jennifer Aniston there with the leprechaun coming through the door in the background. There isn't a whole lot going on this, but I do love like the glow effect from the door behind the leprechaun. And I do love the spotlight effect on Jennifer Aniston And it's just focused on those two. You don't need nothing else. You got your main star and you got your villain. You got your protagonist, you got the antagonist. You got the final girl, and you got the bad motherfucker. Lep in the hood, come to do no good. That's for later. All right, coming in at number 5 is Leprechaun 2. So this is the first Leprechaun I ever watched. I had this one on VHS, and man, there was some good old days. And one thing about this franchise is you can watch almost any of these in any order and it doesn't make a fuck. And there is no like confirmed actual timeline. There's suggested timelines, and there are some timelines in which you should watch the films that make more sense in terms of time, you know, like years and dates and stuff. However, the storylines are fucked. Like almost nothing connects, and that's fine, you know? It's almost like an anthology series with the Leprechaun, and I find that kind of fun. This time, luck has nothing to do with it. Better than the first. Would I call Leprechaun 2 better than the OG? Man, that's a tough one. I would say no. Leprechaun 2 holds a special place in my heart, and I probably would watch it any day of the week. But just a simple story of the Leprechaun and Ozzy and them and the OG just, it sells for me. Not knocking Leprechaun 2, because like I said, that's my shit. I love how the Leprechaun is such in the shadows, and I love that rim light right there, backlighting the Leprechaun, and the candle he's holding just lighting up his face. He looks so evil and maniacal. And then you got the city in the background. This is a really good design. It's eerie. I love the color grades on it. It's doing a lot with very little. Beautiful poster. Takes me back, man. Takes me back. All right, coming in at number 4 is Leprechaun in the Hood. We haven't really talked about the topic of this franchise on this channel, but I did have a debate the other day because I actually watched Leprechaun in the Hood and Leprechaun Back to the Hood back to back the other day, and they're just so fun. A lot of people say Leprechaun in the Hood is better. I actually like the Leprechaun Back to the Hood a little bit better. But this is where they switch shit up. Tagline, evil's in the house. Fuck yeah, man. You got Leprechaun up there with his goddamn finger guns, and you got Ice-T sitting on the goddamn throne. Like, how much cooler can you get from this? I wish I can go back to the time where I first saw this movie poster, back in the days of Blockbuster, and I'm just seeing this fucking Leprechaun franchise, and I see Ice-T sitting on the goddamn throne. I'm like, Leprechaun's going to the hood? What the fuck? I have to watch this. Dad, please. Definitely a turning of the times, and I do love this poster. It's silly, and it kind of detours from like the principal base of what they did before, but I love it. This movie poster is fun. All right, coming in at number 3 is Leprechaun 3. Welcome to Vegas. The odds are you won't leave alive. Now, I do believe this poster right here has the best color scheme and the best color spectrum. Of course, you got Warwick Davis superimposed over Las Vegas. And I love how it's dark above, but it's real bright at the bottom. Kind of like Las Vegas, you know? The contrast there is mixed really well. With the little hat in the background, I love the lightning bolts in the sky. This is a beautiful illustration. Leprechaun looks menacing, he looks pissed, but Vegas, baby, Vegas. I've never been. This poster right here is beautiful to look at, and they did a really solid job on this one. All right, coming in at number 2 is Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Tagline, evil has a whole new rap. Now, there is one small detail on this poster that put it way up here for me. Only one thing, and that simple thing is Leprechaun wearing that fucking chain with the 2 on it. It blends in with the title perfectly. Leprechaun Back to the Hood. Otherwise, it would have been a little bit lower. But I just love that. It's so simple, but it fucking works. You have the Leprechaun up above like always, and I love how he looks. Instead of menacing, he's like, come at me, bruh. He's like, I'm about to drop the fucking greatest diss track of all time. And I love in this one, for the first time, you actually have a character lineup at the bottom. That's one thing about this franchise thus far. The only other person besides Jennifer Aniston and Ice-T, nobody's been on the poster except for the Leprechaun. So it's nice to have a change up and have your main stars and supporting actors and actresses up on the poster too. Yeah, I watched this the other night and it's so corny, but it's so funny and so good. And no, these movies are not horror classics, but they're damn good entertainment if you want a good movie to watch. And let's get into it. My number 1 is Leprechaun Returns. I know, chat. I bet right now you're like, how in the fuck did he pick this piece of shit movie to be at the top? I like it. It sucks we didn't get Warwick Davis back in this movie, but it is what it is. I actually haven't seen this movie all the way through. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm about to give one thing away that made me turn it off. When I first watched this movie, I saw it had Ozzy back. I was like, ooh, man, I love me some Ozzy. They have a legacy character. Okay, I wasn't worried about Jennifer Aniston coming back. Pretty soon in the fucking movie, Ozzy gets crinked. And I was like, okay, Click. But one day I will go back and I will finish this movie. So Leprechaun Returns, this does not have a tagline, but you know what's up. To me, the Leprechaun looks pretty good. He looks a little different, but after being blown up, I guess you probably would. I love how you have the original house in the background. I love the sky being dark and stormy. It really brings that unsettling feeling like, hey, shit's about to go south. I love the coin. I love the shine on the coin right there. And I love the foliage right there, all around. This, of course, is a more modernized poster. It feels modern. But for a modern movie, is it safe to say this is a pretty generic poster? On today's standards, yeah, I could say that. But from the previous posters of this franchise, which the base principle was kind of like bare minimum, simplistic. But with this one, they're like, hey boys, we're about to go balls deep into it, balls to the wall, do what you can. I can't quite put my finger on why I love this poster. It just looks good. It looks appealing. I'm sure most people would disagree with me. And that's fine, because if I conform to your list, that would be your list, not my list. But nonetheless, let me know if you agree. What will be your number 1 and what will be your number 8? What is your best and what's your least favorite? Drop it down below in the comments. And give me vivid details, we can talk about it. Let's start a thread. One thing I love doing is talking to you guys in the comments. But that is all. Thank you so much for taking part of your day to kick it with me. You know I appreciate it. I love you all. Until next time, adios.